Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with episode 39 of Beneath the Banner's Shadow. This is our D&D 5e campaign that takes place in the homebrew world of mine known as Rostveen. This one in particular takes place in the kingdom of Vykaril, which is heavily based on Arthurian mythology, as well as English and a little bit of German folklore and history kind of thrown into the mix. Tonight's episode is titled For Whom the Bell Tolls. I think it's been a little while since we played. I don't think we got the chance to play last month. I might be wrong. No? Yeah, I think that's just right. But 'tis the season, after all, for sickness and family gatherings and conflicts of a scheduling variety. So that's just kind of par for the course. But a happy holidays to everybody out there who may be celebrating. I hope everybody has a wonderful next several weeks with all of the various holidays that are kind of coming down the pipe. Hope everybody has time for some relaxation and some recharging, maybe a little bit of festive spirit. So, we are down at least one player this evening. It looks like, and the second one having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, Steve can get those sorted out and maybe joining us here midstream. But until he does show up, we're going to go ahead right along and get things started. I do also want to say thank you so much to Rachel Ayers, who designed most of the shields that you'll see throughout the campaign. She was a fantastic artist to work with. I highly recommend checking her stuff out if you have the chance. And also I do this every single time. I don't know why I don't prepare this better. Augusto, I think, was the artist's name who drew most of the character portraits, or all of the character portraits that you see on the screen now. Also, fantastic job on those. It really kind of helps put the immersion of this, the characters and the setting into a great perspective for the game. So thank you. Same warning that I give on the beginning of all of my games, and that is if foul language and mature subject matter are things that bother you, then this might not be the game for you to watch. Particularly this stint that we are currently in with our story. There is a plague that is ongoing, and I do realize that the timing of that subject might be a little sensitive for some people. So again, if that's the kind of thing that makes you uncomfortable or squeamish, then avert thine eyes. So I think I'm going to pass things over to my players now so that they can do their introductions, say anything that they would like to say, touch on what they might have going on, etc., etc., and then we will get things started. So, let's start with Baron.
I play so seldomly online that I don't have I haven't had anything to plug in like a year plus. It's definitely it's probably actually been like 3 years because I have no sense of time because of COVID. So yeah, I play D&D sometimes on this channel and I enjoy it. This evening I'm dropping back into the boots of Masaka Tord. And I'm gonna be completely honest, if we're fighting a castle, I'm pretty nervous.
You know, not having things to plug is perfectly fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. There are certainly weeks when I long for not having to self-promote things and not having to have commitments that I have to meet. It's kind of nice sometimes. So yeah, I might envy that of you a little bit, Baron.
We are
man.
two paths. You chose the high ground. I crawled below the rocks.
I chose violence. No, I'm really excited to see what this what's going on in this session. I'm excited to see how that's going to challenge all of these characters. So, yeah, always a pleasure to game with you, Baron. So welcome back. Speaking of always a pleasure to play with, next is Karen.
Everyone, I am Karen, also known as Myth and Gears. currently don't have anything to plug as it's holiday season and we're kind of taking a hiatus over everything. But when I'm not here, I can be found on Mini Terrain Domain and Dice on Ice. And tonight I get to play Ariana, and I'm very excited to jump back in her shoes. Less excited about the situation we're in, but hey, you can't have everything.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. Again, just always excited to see all these beautiful faces at the table. So I'm eager and excited to start torturing you all. Speaking of eager and excited, last we have Eli.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eli. Nice to be here. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've been back in old Vykaril, and I'm excited to see where things are going. I feel like there's some trepidation among the old quest mates here, but personally, I'm looking forward for the opportunity to stretch my legs a little and, get my heart rate up and all that. So should be good. Oh, and it looks like young Sedain has arrived as well. Oh, I'll be playing Sir John Lightnor, a knight of the realm.
Excellent. Always a pleasure to have you as well, Eli. Let me get your windows resized and all of that kind of stuff.
Doing a great job, man.
Trying to bamf. Let's see what we can do here. Steve, let me grab. Oh, hold please. Behind the curtains. The man behind the curtain. Steve. Ah, there they go. Now the people should be able to see your face. Why don't you give your introduction, sir, since you're here? You're muted. Uh-oh.
Still can't hear you.
All right, Baron, why don't you do Steve's introduction? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, guys, you know me, the incomparable Steve. I am both talented and experienced in tabletop RPGs. I actually have no idea the credentials outside of being.
It's so wild that Steve got his microphone
guy
to work after all. Like,
just in time.
Couldn't
Uncanny.
tell the difference.
All right, maybe.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
Yep. Now we can hear your dulcet tones.
Yes. Oh. Well, I mean, Baron pretty much covered it.
Truth.
I felt like I was nailing it.
You were. Yeah, sorry for everything like this. Just bleh, did not want to work. But here we are. Yeah, it's been about 88 years since we saw each other last. Looking forward to tonight. That's all I got. I'm Dane. Hi.
Excellent. That was riveting. Thank you. No, that was beautiful. I'm glad that things kind of seem to work out, Steve. I'm glad that you're able to join us, man. Josh, we miss you. Hope you have happy holidays. I think we're ready to start unless anybody has any questions. No? Okay, cool. Let's see. Crossing all my T's, dotting all my I's. I think everybody seems to be in the right place. Yeah. Okay, good. At least physically. All right, here we go. Nope. That's the wrong button, Jeremy. Batting 1,000. All right. We often mourn the dead more than we do the suffering. But the dead need nothing of our sorrow, our pity, nor our compassion. The suffering, that is who needs these mercies of us. And yet we build monuments and mausoleums to honor those who have passed. We spill blood in their names. We revere them with a divinity that borders on immortality. Yet, we avert our eyes and ears from those who could physically receive such attention and affection. Our morbid fixation surrounding our own mortality gives those who have gone before a place of sanctity that those living amongst us will never enjoy. We find the 5 of you within the keep of Warrenton, particularly in the sanctuary. At the back, there's a small room that has a heavy door. Inside of it, there are a few treasures, but what you found behind a tapestry was the house shield of Warrenton. Reaching out to remove it from the wall and claim it, maybe for himself, maybe to return to the Baron of Warrenton, Eddard removed the shield from the wall. The very moment that he did so, things around you rapidly changed. You hear some kind of repeated, disembodied voice shouting, "Thief! Thief!" repeatedly, every 20 seconds or so, very loud. One of them you hear seems to be muffled. The other, however, is somewhere within the room with you. In addition, you see that there is a fog that seems to be creeping along the ground, reaching from beyond the chapel, beyond the sanctuary, kind of coming in under the pews, now starting to just kind of lick at the edges of all of your boots at the back of the chapel. The other thing that you heard was the screams of Lady Reba and Sir Merrick, who are elsewhere inside the keep. What are you going to do?
I think Sir John, as soon as he hears the screams coming from down the hallway, is like, we need to get to them. Can we bring the shield? Come. Right now, all of us. Can we go?
I think Eddard is kind of, struggling to get it off of the wall, but he's definitely removing it from the wall. Seems like it will be mobile.
I'll assist him in getting it off the wall.
And I'll stand guard with my sword drawn while they're doing that.
I'm up with Ari, and I'm getting out my long sword and also my shield.
So where the two of you are kind of, at the door to this rectory, or whatever it would technically be called, at kind of the back of this chapel, you can see at the far end of the chapel that fog starting to thicken and rise as the floor is covered, and so now it has nowhere to sink to, and it's starting to increase in volume. But it's also at that time that you hear that same kind of unsettling harmonic whispering of the strange words, the words of the old ways of Vykaril, kind of rising in unison and falling again. The voices of the corpses of this plague's victims rising up in unison. But then you hear the tolling of bells ringing out above the city. It's as if every temple and church was ringing its bell at the same time. The shield is removed from the wall. Eddard has it in hand and has turned and approached where Sir John and Ari are. As you... sorry, go ahead.
This does not sound good. We've got to get out of here as quick as we can.
Wasn't that villain we deposed last time we were here a priest of some kind, a father? These spells are unsettling. Tord, Sedane, do you have the rear?
I'm covering. Go ahead.
Let's proceed. And so we're gonna head off. I guess it'll be Ari and me in the front, Dane in the middle, Tord and
Eddard in the middle with the shield.
Eddard, thank you.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah,
okay.
And then Tord and Dane in the back.
Okay, excellent. You're making your way kind of through this chapel as this fog is starting to kind of like thicken and rise up. It might be to Eddard or Ari's knees or something now. There's no foul smell that comes from this. If anything, there's that kind of that smell of ozone, or water vapor that you kind of get whenever there's a mist or a fog that's really thick. But nothing amiss other than its presence. But it's as you're approaching the other side of the chapel, kind of getting ready to exit from the doors, when suddenly there's a noise that kind of startles all of you, and it's at the windows of this chapel. And as you turn and look, you see the shapes of people up against the stained glass of the window, slamming their fists and scratching their nails down the panes of glass and the leaded lines that separate it. And you realize the dead of Warrenton are now walking.
All right, maybe a change of plans, eh? I'm not sure going outside is very good anymore. Might not be right place.
Staying's probably not any better.
Is there a way up? Or down, under?
Unfortunately, I think our only way is through.
Oh.
All right.
Right. Sure.
We do it together. Keep each other's backs watched. We'll make our way with discipline, and we'll arrive safely.
Ari looks at Dane at this moment too, because of all the fog. Is that your doing?
I gesture towards the window and the people.
No. The fog, the mist, the watery stuff.
I don't think so. I mean, not intentionally.
That's less comforting than I would have thought.
Right. No. Not me.
All right.
Well, hold on. Before we open the door or go out a window, where are we going?
To find Lady Reba and some merc.
Where did they go?
We left them in their quarters.
Where you had found the body of Lady Krawahar.
Right. So if they're still there,
Retrace our steps. Return to where we...
Right. I mean, at least we don't have to go outside right now. We just...
Yes, hopefully we can avoid any undue attention.
How long do you think the glass will hold?
Well, I'm not sure. And how good is their sense of smell? We should proceed as quickly as we can.
All right. Well. I suppose Eddard knows it well enough to get us like back there as quickly as possible. Like,
yeah, he's fairly familiar with the layout of the keep from having grown up here, so he definitely knows the way to get there.
All right, Eddard, stay close behind. We'll push through.
Okay, who's going for the door to the chapel?
I will.
I like how your voice cracked as you said that. It was great.
It's called immersion, Jeremy.
I think as he goes for the door, like he's going to be stepping back as the door opens, and I've got my shield ready to like brace and push into this new space.
Oh, this is gonna suck.
Yeah. I have maybe an idea.
I am all ears right now. I am terrified of a toy.
All right. So Dane gets down on his belly and is looking underneath like the crack of the door, trying to see like out through the door how many, if there are many, of the dead on the other side of this door.
So like when you start to kind of get down close to the floor, you realize that like that's where this fog, this mist is coming from, is underneath the door. That it's thick enough that like you can't see like through it at all.
All right. Well, you guys are just going to have to trust me on this. All right. Yeah, I can do this.
What do you need to do?
I'm going to open the door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out. And you guys give me about 15, 20 seconds and then come out behind me. And then just keep moving.
15, 20 seconds is a long time. When you
I know. I know. Right. So just count to 10 or 15. And then just come out behind me.
You'll signal us if you need help.
I'll scream real loud.
Good.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
All right. And he opens the door, and I'm gonna dash out, 10 or 15 feet away from this door as best I can until I run into a wall of zombies.
Dane, you reach out and you grab the latch on this door and you pull, and the door doesn't go anywhere.
So I pull.
There's no.
I pull. I start to run at the same time.
Door. Yep.
It's locked, I think.
I didn't try it.
Ow.
Again, there was no keyhole in this door, and it wasn't locked whenever you arrived. As a matter of fact, it may not have even been shut.
Is it the only door?
Other than to the room that had the shield in it, yes.
So there's a big window.
I'm not opposed to going through a window.
I'm not opposed to going through a window.
If we smash it outward, then that gives I don't know, maybe these creatures will be hurt by it.
All right. Well, can you and Tord throw one of those church benches through the window?
I'll
I don't
hazard the
need
Tord and I
any-
can throw 2 of them.
I don't need any help to throw it. Jeez. Give us-
Hey, Tord, watch this. I walk over and I pick one up and I'm like, one hand.
I think Tord like goes to show off, but he just actually throws it.
All right.
All right. So the bench just sails through that stained glass, just shattering pieces of kind of rainbow colored glass everywhere, crashing into several of the throng that are kind of outside. And there's kind of that moment where there's just cleared space from where the bench has kind of passed through this gathered collection of undead outside the window. And then very quickly you see they're starting to fill.
So as they start to filter, like as they sort of clump back in, I'd like to dive through that space, like into that space rather.
Okay.
And as I'm diving, I yell, "So let's start counting!" And I jump out into that hole. And assuming I don't instantly like die. Oh
no, not instantly.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and get initiative rolls from everybody.
Yeah,
of course.
That might come in handy. Oh, that's off to a good start. Ooh, excellent. Let's see. What do we got? Here, what do we got? Dane and Tord, both of you would roll a d6 for me. Two for Tord. Okay, roll again. Okay. All right, so Dane is going to go first, and then Tord. Who am I missing? Ari. Okay. All right, so that means that it is going to be Dane who gets to react first. So Dane, you kind of just leapt out of this window onto a couple of collapsed corpses of these bloodmouth plague victims, partially crushed by this pew. It is your turn.
So trying to stay on as much of this pew as possible. I look back and I kind of grimace for a second, and there's that familiar glow of magic from my sword. The flaking becomes pretty intense as that rust-colored skin sort of drifts off my body. It hangs around me momentarily. And I will reach out with both hands, and I'm going to cast Sword Burst. So what will happen is instead of celestial, it's a at-will warlock spell. So instead of celestial appearing in my hand momentarily, it just sort of appears in front of me, and I grab it, and everything within 10 feet of me needs to make a DC 17 Dex save.
Ooh, Dex is one of their good ones as undead. Actually, 17.
Mm-hmm.
That a pass? Okay.
Yeah, 17 for a pass. Yep.
Oh, it is a DC 17. Okay, that's what they got. Okay. So then, so they pass whatever that looks like. Or wait, how? Okay, it's everything within 10 feet of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's roll. 10 feet would be 1, 2. Okay, there's actually quite a few of them in that area. So that's a fail. Then fail 4. Fail 5. Fail. Okay, and then 6. We'll say there were 6 of them total. That is also a fail. Okay, so the first one passed. The other 5 failed.
Okay. So the other 5 will take 15 points of damage. As basically a series of spectral blades, much akin to mine, just swing around me momentarily.
I'm assuming so, but do these count as magical?
It is a spell, so yes.
Okay. All right. So that slices into most of those. The one that passes, you take half?
Nope, nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the others are literally there's parts of them that are flayed open or completely severed. But they are still moving.
Okay. So as that finishes, 10, 10, 10.
And Tord, you're right behind him.
I don't think Tord even counted. And like you're saying Ted and Tord, actually there's a little bit of buildup, I think. The just potency of the necrotic energy in this kind of courtyard in front of me. I can detect undead as an action, but I don't think that I've ever experienced this vast of like that kind of pool. It's thick, like red miasma that just hangs in the air. It's like choking me out almost to breathe. Tord is going to raise his hood, the stag antlers with the bear pelt, kind of shielding his face, kind of over his nose. I'm going to cast Spirit Shroud as a bonus action, imbuing my weapon strikes with radiant energy.
Ooh, okay.
This cloak, which is usually kind of like loose fitting and weather worn, kind of grows tight, almost like a mask upon my helm. I do an extra like a D8. But I leap into the fray, and whoever is closest, really, to kind of post cast Dane is just going to get the beans, really.
Yeah, leaping out kind of beside Dane, you can see that while there's this kind of small area that was cleared by the pew, and how, some of them are now kind of staggered back or whatnot from the spell that Dane just unleashed, that there is probably at least 2 to 3 dozen of these creatures within visual sight, at least.
Well, my first attack, like I said, would probably be pretty reckless. Kind of like jumping into the haze. 18 on the die for a total of 26.
Definitely will hit.
Oh, I roll a lot of dice now.
And I know you said you're going to go for one of the closest, but do you want to go for one of the ones that Dane just injured, or do you want to go with the one that passed his save?
I'm going to go with the one that passed its save, because I imagine
Okay.
that one's like still standing in totality. Yeah. So 12 points of slashing and 7 points radiant.
Okay, so you notice your sword strike itself is not enough to kill this thing. But whatever this mask that you've kind of pulled over, this extra spell that is kind of feeding your attacks, that is more than enough to finish this thing off. So you want to describe what that looks like?
It's efficient. Cleave from like broken clavicle to lower armpit, and kind of just like dismembering this thing. I don't think there's much thought, as I would just go for like the sparse might be the word, like the least dense packing of these to kind of cut my way through with whatever guidance Ed was able to give me before me leaping out here behind Dane. I don't anticipate to kill them all. I just want to get us to like a wall or something that's close.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the direction of my next attack, which is not as high, but still 23.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, 11 points slashing and 5 points radiant.
Okay, that is another one that you have managed to cut down because of this secondary damage that you're doing. It seems to, that damage in particular seems to be very effective against these.
I turn back to Dane. I'm ready.
I can see that. Sort of stand up from this busted pew.
All right, that was toward. All right, so this mass of shambling individuals, do you realize that even if you've come across other undead that would be otherwise described like this, where their flesh is rotting off of their bones, these don't quite move in the same slow, like jerky way that those kinds of undead seem to move. These seem to move with the haste of a person, a living person who's in danger or who is desperate. They run towards you, oblivious to whatever damage it may be causing to them to run into a low wall or one another. They slam into each other without any care whatsoever, stumble to the ground, get back up on their feet, and continue to move towards you. They begin to kind of crowd in around you. As of right now, the only viable targets for them, however, are Dane and Tord. They're going to close in around you, and each one of you is going to get 3 of them that are trying to attack you. Let's see. We'll go with Dane. You were out first. We'll go to you first. The first is going to do a bite. The second, a claw. And the third, also a bite. So bite, claw, bite. What is your AC?
15.
15. All right. The first one with the bite is going to miss you. So it kind of comes in with its kind of blood-stained teeth, crust-covered, coagulated, kind of brown mass on its face, trying to bite you, and it misses. The second one, as you kind of like reel back from the gnashing teeth of the first one, that one, however, is going to manage to rake its claws into a soft spot in your armor, and is going to gouge its dirty fingernails into your skin for slashing damage to the tune of 8 points of damage. And as that one kind of gets into a soft spot, the third one closes and tries to bite you on the clavicle. Apparently, it misses misses your clavicle and bites you straight on the side of your neck. I just rolled a 20. So, I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw, if you would, please.
You get +3 because you're 10 feet from me.
Hey! Ooh, there you go.
Constitution?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
18 with the +3.
Okay, excellent. So, you take piercing damage to the point of 18 damage as this thing sinks its teeth into the flesh of your neck, perhaps even tearing away some of that flesh. But you can feel this sting, this fire that kind of starts to enter your blood at the site of this wound. But thankfully, whatever it is that Tord has going on manages to keep it from taking a foothold. All right, now Tord, 3 that are coming after you. The first is going to be a claw. The second is also a claw. And the final one is a bite. Okay. And what is your AC currently?
I'm sitting at 19.
19. Okay. We've got claw, bite. Let's see here. Claw 19. Nope. I'm just gonna miss. So it kind of swipes at you. The second one, likewise, tries to grab a hold of your arm, but you manage to recoil enough. Holy shit. This one apparently also manages to find, maybe this is like on the inside of your arm, kind of up here where, you know, the armor kind of cuts in or something like that.
Ooh, tender.
Yeah, it's probably your sword arm, because this is another 20. So I'm gonna need a critical, or no, con save from you. You're immune to disease?
I am immune to disease.
Okay, so then never mind. So you'll just be taking the damage, which is going to be 23 points of piercing damage. Because again, it rips out a part of your bicep in its teeth and is happily gnawing upon that.
Happily.
Okay, that takes care of the ones that are currently closed, while more of them kind of make their way towards you. Dane and Tord, both of you also might realize, being kind of just outside of this cathedral, kind of adjacent to the main courtyard, where you saw a lot of these tables that looked like they had been set up for relief against the plague, and then at some point had been just abandoned. As you're kind of looking out past that, you keep hearing this kind of rhythmic, like, rattling noise. And kind of, if you happen to just take a moment and look that direction, you realize that portcullis that closes the gate to the courtyard away from the main city is like shaking in its bindings. You may recall that on the other side of that, whenever you made your way in here, there was like at least a shoulder-high mountain of bodies on the other side of it. So, next, Ari.
Yeah, afraid for her companions outside, who are now getting surrounded by these creatures, she is going to dive out the window and start hacking upon them as well. All right. As a bonus action, I would like to use my ability called Sharpen the Blade to make my sword. I'm going to spend 2 key points to make it a +2+ to attack and damage.
Excellent.
All right. So I'm going to try to go for one that's by Dane. I think he's probably in the worst state.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is a 19 on the die. So 29 to hit.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. For 10 points of damage, magical.
You said you were going against one of the ones that was on Dane.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the ones that he damaged with his spell. How much did you do?
10 points.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So you can describe what it looks like as you take one of them down.
I think just from the angle that she was going at, coming out of the window and slicing down, it would maybe catch it by its the neck, where the head joins the shoulders, and just kind of slices down at a diagonal into the creature's torso until it ends it. And she'll land beside Dane.
And as you are felling your way kind of through these creatures, it's obviously you can tell that they once were people, were humans, but they are so covered with coagulated blood and mud and pustules. And their clothes are tattered and soiled. It's almost impossible to distinguish one from the other. They're almost just silhouettes or shadows at this point. Okay, that was Ari. Everybody who is outside can make a perception roll for me. Sir John, you're still inside. You can make a perception roll. It'll just be at disadvantage.
Is it bright outside? Or are we in
No.
like dusky? Okay.
No, it's like nighttime.
Oh, I got a nat 20 for 27.
Okay. 27 toward Dane. Okay. Dane and Ari in particular, you both hear what sounds like singing. Like these creatures are all muttering and whispering in unison with one another. These kind of what feels like an incantation of some kind. They're saying the same words with the same inflection, the same rhythm, the same speed. It's just coming from each of their mouths kind of in harmony. But this song, this voice is different from the others, is unique. And it's a voice that is definitely not chanting, but singing. And Ari, with what you rolled, you can tell that it is some distance away outside of where the gate is. That brings us to Sir John.
As I have been inside, I think everybody else has rushed out ahead of time, and I've been here with Lord Eddard. And I'm talking to him like, what do you know about using a shield? Have you been trained? Oh, no, you haven't? Okay, just hold the shield. Just use it defensively. Like, we'll get you through this. I've got your back. And so I hop over the wall, tell him to hop over the wall, and then I'm like, stay behind me. And I just charge forward. And if Ari attacked some of the ones near Sir Dane, then I'm going to attack some of the ones that are on Tord and just try to get as many off as I can. So let's see. I have 3 attacks that I can make. And I'm just going to fucking go for it. First one is 16 to hit.
That'll do.
Okay. And that means 17 damage.
Is this magical?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. 17 damage. This is one of the ones that was on Tord?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably not one that had damage previously. 17. Okay. It is still standing, though it is not looking good at all.
Cool. That's fine. Second one, I'm going to attack it again. That's a 15 to hit.
Will also hit.
Cool. That is 14 damage.
Okay. That will absolutely kill the first one.
Cool. As I've been watching over from inside the building, I've seen people charge out and attack. Has there been a particular kind of stroke that seems to be most effective, like stabs versus slashes or whatever, like particular parts of the body?
It doesn't necessarily seem like they are particularly vulnerable in any way from traditional damage. Towards swings, they definitely seem to be cleaving easier or deeper through these creatures.
Yeah. Then I think as far as Sir John knows, he's just going to copy the movements that Tord is doing. And he'll find that, I'm sure, that they aren't as effective as, when Tord's doing it, but that's okay. So I think to start off, he kind of hacks at this one zombie, and then he stabs it right in the chest and then does like a 300 kind of kick, and it goes back. Let me actually see if I want to. So if I push something and it goes into other creatures, are they also pushed too? Or is it like the creature gets knocked down? How does that work?
Yeah, so mechanically you can take a shove action and you can either shove for distance to push something back or shove to make it fall prone.
Got it.
Other than that, it's just kind of the situation. If you want to try to find one that you could push into, a knot of them to try to slow them down, then we could just roll and see what happens.
Yeah, I absolutely want to do that. So
Okay.
this is my majestic slash of heaven maneuver. And I am going to expend one of my superiority die. Actually, so I killed the one that I kicked here just now.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So I think, I'm just going to stab it in the heart and then it's going to fall down or whatever. My third attack is going to be against this thing and I'm going to probably use the maneuver.
Okay.
So that is going to be 18 to hit.
Yes.
Yeah, and then damage-wise, let's just see here. It's 14 damage. And then I'm going to use that superiority die, which adds to the damage roll. So that's going to add 4 dice, or 4, for a total of 18 to hit. Or 18 damage.
18 points. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm also, it has to make a strength saving throw.
Strength saving. All right. What is the DC it needs to beat?
Dang it, I had this written down. It's 4 plus 8 is 12.
Is it in double digits?
12, I think.
Okay. It failed.
No. I think it's more than that. 5 plus
then it definitely
4 plus 8. Yeah, whatever. So then, I push the target up to 15 feet away from me, and I'm basically just like, I think I kind of slash down, and I bring my shield over, and I just bash the thing backwards into as big a crowd as I can point it toward.
Okay, excellent. Roll me a d4.
Okay. That's going to be a 2.
Okay. So you managed to shove this thing into a pair that are kind of running up together. And it's going to kind of slam into the two of them. And all of them are going to kind of go down in a heap. So buying you at least some few precious seconds before they're going to be able to get back to their feet.
Sure. And I think because I haven't heard this music at all yet, I'm going to shout out, we need to get to Sir Merrick. He can help this fight. Dane, the frost magic you wield, is it any use here? And then
So Edward kind of following Sir John, realizing that the 4 of you have kind of cleared a little bit of a path kind of along the wall of the exterior of the keep. I guess heading back to the front door. Sounds like that might be kind of the plan if you're looking to try to get back to where Sir Merrick is. Okay. So Edward will call out, this way! And he kind of turns and kind of holds the shield on the other side of him from the wall and is just going to start kind of moving that direction. Okay. That's going to bring us back to the top with Dane.
What's the distance from where we are to that front door?
Let's call it 100 feet.
All right. And how many more of these things do I see near us currently?
There is still probably 24 of them that you can see.
And they're clumping together as they're moving towards us, right? Like they're all filing.
Yeah, they're they're not like necessarily all coming from one direction. So like,
right.
2 or 3 of them might come around the corner of the front of the keep. One of them comes from out of a building. But they're kind of starting to converge kind of on your location. The highest concentration of them is the group that's kind of surrounding your party.
And then off at the porticos, there's another rattling of that
yes
monstrous amount of
yeah.
And how far is that portcullis from me?
It's probably about 150 feet or so.
In the opposite direction of the front door, correct?
Yeah, so like the way that I was kind of picturing it, the wall kind of goes closer to the gate, and then you kind of round the corner to the door.
Okay.
And if you kind of keep going beyond the corner of the keep and kind of more off to the left, that's where the gate is.
All right. So the immediate corner, the one that Sir Eddard is moving around at the moment, or towards, I'm going to try and move to that same corner, thereabouts, and I would like to drop. So I have a 30-foot diameter or sphere spell. And I'm going to put it so that it's touching the corner of the corner, but then 30 feet out from it, 15 feet either side of it. So as I do that, I again, like the sword sort of appearing in my hand, I'm going to kneel and sort of drive it into the ground, and this bubbling of water will start to sort of seep up and flow out to fill what is this 30-foot diameter. And if you can get in here, like travel through this, but any creature that starts its turn, ends its turn, or passes through this needs a DC 17 con save, or it'll take 4d10 radiant damage.
All right. And you're able to omit specific people from that damage, it sounds like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Deal. All right. So Dane, you kind of run up to the corner of the keep and drive your sword kind of almost straight into the ground next to kind of where the kind of rounded stonework of this keep is. And this water kind of springs up out of the, almost kind of like, I envision it almost like seeping upwards out of the ground, almost like a time lapse or something. That brings us to Tord. You're muted.
I know what I'm doing. I think Tord is going to get to like just beside Dane where he's casted, and I'm gonna hold my action to strike at anything that like assails my friends as they approach, to kind of like bring up the rear as I'm dealing a bit of damage right now. So I'm gonna hold my action until something gets close.
Okay, excellent. It is these things' turn next. So the first thing that I'll describe is, again, you hear that gate, that portcullis and its accompanying door kind of rattle in its place up against the stone, and there's this whisper, this uniform whisper that is groaned out, this bemoaning sound that is unsettling down in your bones as this thing rattles in its place against what you can only imagine is a surge of corpses. However, inside the courtyard here, those from the outlying areas are continuing to kind of file in from various different places, kind of joining the outer fringes of this kind of gathering ring that is trying to move and get along kind of where you're kind of moving against the building here. Several of them are going to close. We're going to do 2 apiece this round. Tord, you had a readied action. You moved up to beside Dane. So do you want to attack one of the ones that is coming at you or one of the ones that is coming at Dane?
I'm gonna attack the one that's coming at day.
Okay. So go ahead and roll that up.
16 to hit.
16 to hit. That will definitely hit.
Right. 12 slashing damage and 8 radiant damage. My radiant damage has been hot today.
Oh,
Jeez.
shit. Yeah, that's another one that you have killed. So yeah, even before it manages to cross the threshold of this kind of watery area, you're able to cut it cleanly in half. All right, the second one is going to get through, so it needs to make a saving throw before it can actually close with Dane. Con save. Oh, there it is. 17. Okay. I doubt many of them are going to pass that. Negative on the first one. 33 damage. Okay. So, yeah, what does it look like as any of these that fail passing this threshold are going to be obliterated?
And I think that's exactly what it looks like. As they step into that water, it's almost like they're being unmade. Like the water travels up their corpse-like bodies, and at first it's just washing, similar to like when I can wash away the rust flakes, but it starts to wash away that dried blood. But since there's not anything left behind the disease and the corpse, when it's all said and done, it just washes it away to nothing.
All right, excellent. So the two that are now going to be trying to run in close with Eddard are also going to have to try to bypass this defensive barrier, and that's another 1 and another 2. Both of the ones that kind of rush for Eddard, both of them evaporate the same as the one that we just saw that attempted to close with Dane. So that's another 1, 2. Okay, the 2 that are on Tord are going to attempt to close with him. I don't think that one of them is going to have to enter the area before it gets to him. So, but it's going to miss. It's not going to bypass your 19 AC. The second one is going to have to at least make contact with this barrier in order to get to him, and is going to fail and likewise be evaporated.
I think this guy is actually like running at me, and I like duck low, get him on my shield, and just like toss him behind
Perfect.
me into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's kind of like sideways in the air as he kind of comes apart. Okay, the 2 that are coming after Ari. Ari, what is your AC?
17.
Okay. The first one is going to miss with a claw. However, the bite is going to hit. So I will need a Constitution saving throw from you.
I am also immune to disease.
Okay, then I do not need a Constitution saving throw from you. Fucking paladins and monks. What the hell? So the damage for you is going to be piercing to the tune of 12 points. As it manages to get a hold of like the back of your hand or something like that, as you're kind of like pulling back from making an attack against one of its allies. One of the things that's really strange about these creatures is, again, they're almost like fighting in the same vicinity of one another. Like they're just clawing over the top of one another, sometimes even inflicting damage on the ones that are next to them. They just don't seem to care at all. It doesn't seem to matter. Okay, those were the 2 that were on Ari. The last 2 that we need to deal with are the 2 that are on Sir John. Sir John, what is your AC?
19.
19 as well. Okay, that one fumbled badly, so it's not going to manage to get through anything. And the other one also is going to come up short. So you are safe.
Well, I'm going to use my reaction to expend a superiority die and attack one of those that missed me.
Oh, nice. You have riposte.
Yeah.
Nice. It's such a good maneuver.
Let's see here. I got that's going to be a 20 to hit, but it's a dirty 20.
Yeah. That'll make no trouble making contact.
Excellent. And then let's just see here. Okay, so 16, 20 damage total against it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one probably had a little bit of damage on it already, and without any problem whatsoever, you managed to arrest its movement.
Nice, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it kind of comes in and swipes at you with this claw. You manage to bat it aside or something, and then you use one of the maneuvers maybe that you just saw Tord pull off.
Yeah.
And and it likewise works in fashion.
Wonderful.
Okay. That's going to bring us to Ari.
Okay, so right now it's just Sir John and myself that are left outside the watery sphere, right?
Yeah, well, I think you and Sir John right now are just outside of the broken window. Kind of still where that pew is kind of smashed, and then the other three have moved further down the wall towards the corner of the keep, about 30 feet away.
Perfect. Okay, so as my action, I am going to try and smite one of these creatures that are in front of us. I love my dice tonight. That's a crit.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, gotta get back to my damage. So you do max damage and roll, or?
Yes, so all of your dice damage plus your modifiers, and then you roll your dice damage and add your modifiers a second time.
Okay. So 14 and 13 is 27 points of magical damage.
Okay, yeah. So this one is pulverized in a different way, and you can describe that if you'd like.
Yeah, I think this time it's Ari's just like, doing the whole dodge. She just pulled back from and got that nasty bite from one of the three creatures, but she kind of just uses that as momentum to swing around and catches the next one, and just lops it, I don't know, lops its head off or something. However, it just kills it. And still using that momentum, I'm going to use my bonus action to disengage, using a key point, and use my movement to go 50 feet or to the watery sphere inside of it, by Sir Eddard. I want to be by him to protect him.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of join them at the corner of the building, kind of well within the sphere that Dane has kind of brought up around you. And these creatures are continuing to kind of flood in from the various different directions. But for now, at least, that just leaves kind of Sir John back by the window. However, the singing in the city continues, growing somewhat louder, perhaps even closer. And you realize that it sounds almost like whatever this voice is singing, when the music that it is singing, when the song kind of builds and crescendos, that seems to be when this wave of corpses slams against the gate.
Okay.
Sir John, your turn.
So I'm alone out here. I'm going to advance. I can move 30 feet to be inside this sphere, but I see that Ari is going over and kind of keeping an eye on Eddard. And so I'm going to go just inside the sphere, and I'm going to attack from safety, but attack some zombies that are just outside.
Okay, yeah. And even kind of on your way from here to there, if you want to make a couple of attacks, you certainly can.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'll do a couple on the way then. So
there's plenty of these things here. So
yeah. Okay, so I got a 28 to hit. I
yes,
feel like that's probably going to work. And oh damn, max damage, 19 damage.
Okay, 19.
And I'm
okay,
fine.
so-
Like if there are injured ones out here already, I'm fine
Yeah.
picking those
Okay.
off.
So that one will definitely fell one of the injured ones. There's
Nice.
one more that still has damage on it, and then the rest are fresh.
Okay, then I'm gonna go after that other damaged one on my way here too. Got a 20, dirty 20 to hit.
Will also hit.
And so we're talking about, oh, too bad, 13 damage.
Yes, that will definitely finish off that injured one.
Cool. So then, yeah, I think on the way, I'm just like bashing, like there's, I think I stab upward under, like into one of these zombies' jaws and up into its skull. And then at the same time, I'm like, I pull that out and I advance a few more steps, and one comes after me and like tries to get up on my shield, and I end up like turning and bashing it into the wall a few times, and it's just pulp that kind of falls to the ground. And then I come back over, and as soon as I step into the safety of this watery zone, I turn around and I'm going to slash behind me at whatever is coming up on my tail with my third attack here. Well, that's a 14 to hit.
That is still a hit. These
Okay,
things are
great.
not difficult to make contact with.
Just they're easy to hit. That's that. Okay, cool. So let's see here. It's gonna be 13 damage, but I am gonna go ahead and use another maneuver here. It's gonna be oh, I guess. Nah, I'm not gonna use one. It's just 13 damage.
Okay. So you managed to, drive your. You said you're using your halberd or your sword currently?
My long sword, but I'm using it
Longsword.
in one hand.
Yeah. So you kind of like, backward strike, managed to kind of pierce this creature kind of through the abdomen. The sword easily kind of passes all the way through this creature, but it's not quite enough to fell it.
Cool.
What was the damage again?
13.
Okay, 13. Got it.
And I think as soon as I make that slash, and then I'm like, does anyone hear that music? Ari, might be best to have that bow handy.
Okay. Eddard, kind of seeing that even with this protection, that several of these things are starting to surround you and make the path towards the front door more treacherous. He's going to turn to Dane and ask, are you able to move this?
No.
Okay. We just have a little further to go. About another 60 feet down the wall here is the front door. It should still be open, I think. I hope. And he's going to turn and he's going to double move along the wall all the way to kind of the front stoop, the steps that kind of lead up to the front doors. That brings us to Dane.
All right. So there's still what, 15 of them ish on the inside, right?
Yeah, at least. Yeah, there's 2. You guys have killed 11 by my count so far.
Okay.
So almost an even dozen. So there's, again, probably about 2 dozen that you can still see.
But 100 plus on the other side of that gate. If all those corpses are now up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to say at some point, because we've been kind of moving like advance and then rear guard comes up afterward. I think as soon as Dane is free to act, I'm going to say something like, maybe we catch our breath and move as one. And I'm suggesting like delaying your action and getting us all together in initiative order.
Yeah, that's fine. So for now, I won't take an action. I'll just maintain the spell. But Eddard's already moved up to the door, so he's going to be away from us.
Oh shit! Yeah.
No, just move. Just move. Everybody move.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to drop the spell, and I'm going to recast the same spell. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because if we move towards the door for a portion of it, we're getting closer to the portcullis, right? It's just that you have to continue that direction to get. All right. So once I'm going to start moving that direction. So once I'm within 120 feet of the portcullis, I'm going to drop the same spell so that there's about 5 foot of this sphere on our side of the portcullis, the other 25 feet of it on the other side. I'm just going to leave it there. Because it'll last for 10 minutes as long as I can maintain concentration, but I don't have to have line of sight on it.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. All right. So Dane, you kind of summon this time from a distance, kind of right centered on where this portcullis is kind of, pounding in its place, and immediately you can hear that sound, the sound that these spinning, whirling blades that you have summoned are cutting through flesh and bone. Toward, it is your turn. So Dane, you have moved 30 feet.
Yeah, I'll move 30 feet towards. Yeah.
Okay.
Towards.
So now you're halfway between the corner and the front door. Then, Tord.
I am going to. I'm going to double move to be next to Eddard.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of hustle kind of right past where Dane is kind of, forming these somatic kind of components for his spell, kind of like ducking right behind him, in between him and the wall maybe, and kind of come up running just behind Eddard where he's kind of mounting the steps towards the front door. Help me with the door! Help me with the door! He kind of yells out over his shoulder towards you. Okay. More of the friendly neighborhood undead. So there's going to be 2 that manage to close with Eddard and Tord. There will be 3 that are going to attempt to close with Dane, Ari, and Sir John. We'll start at the front of the pack here with Eddard. I don't remember what Eddard's AC is, but I think it's like 14, 15. Okay.
I think it might be like 34 or 35.
It's probably. That's probably
I think
right.
he has like transcended hit points at this point.
He's untouchable. Whenever he gets hit, he actually heals the rest of us. So one of them comes in and is going to sink its teeth into Eddard. And because, yeah, why not? No, I'll roll. Leave to the dice. I don't know what his con bonus is, but I doubt that it's that good. Okay, so somebody make a note somewhere, if you would. Eddard has contracted bloodmouth again. So this thing kind of runs up as he's kind of messing with the door and kind of sinks its teeth right into the back of his shoulder. And he kind of, howls in pain, turns around and kind of, stabs it with his dagger or something to kind of get it away from him. But immediately he kind of falters, and Tord, having seen him under the effects of this already, it's, it's possible that he might be suffering from it again already. The second one, however, did miss him. So now we're on to Tord. The two at you, rather. AC of 19. The first one is going to miss, and the second one is also going to miss. So you managed to fight both of those back. So next is going to be the 3 that are at Dane. I don't think a 13 works. However, that is going to. That's a 21. And And oh god, okay, 2 21s. Okay, let's see. The first of which is going to be a bite. And the second is a claw. Okay. So the bite will need another Constitution saving throw from you. Oh, I'm not going to roll a d20 for damage. That would not be good.
Yeah, 15 on the Constitution save.
15 on the con. Okay. Eddard is not the only one who has contracted the Bloodmouth Plague. Right. The bite itself is going to deal 7 points of piercing to you. The claw that follows it is going to be slashing damage to the tune of 7 points of damage. Okay. Both of these manage to get past you as you are casting your spell, concentrating as hard as you can on the portcullis. They manage to slip past your defenses and land their various attacks on you. All right, third is going to be, or next rather, is going to be the 3 that are on Ari. That's going to miss with a 9. Oh, that's another 20. And the last one's a 1. Okay, so the one that managed to get past you is going to be a claw. Okay. So Ari, as you're kind of running up to kind of catch up with the rest of the group, an even 20 points of piercing damage as this thing rakes you across your back, kind of gouging these deep ruts into the skin of your back. And then the 3 that are on Sir John. Also with a 19. That's a miss from the first. The second, also a miss. And the third, that is actually going to hit with a 23. This one is also a claw. Okay. So, Sir John, this will be slashing damage in the amount of 7 points. Again, it's kind of a case at this point of there's just so many of these things that while you can successfully defend yourself against 1, 2, maybe even 3 of them, your attention is divided enough that one of them is able to kind of get past and land one of these savage attacks. These are more akin to fighting feral animals than it is fighting soldiers of any kind. But you are steadily making progress towards the door, and hopefully, once you get inside, you will be able to bolster your defenses. All right, that brings us to Ari.
Dang. Okay, so Dane is halfway there. Eddard and Tord are at the front door. Is that how it is? Or
yeah, Eddard and Tord are at the front door. Dane is halfway between the front door and the corner. You and Sir John are at the corner, I believe. Oh, you moved 50 feet last round, didn't you?
I just moved into the sphere.
Oh, that's right. You stopped at the... Okay, yeah.
And the singing, how far away does the singing sound like it is?
With what you rolled on your perception, at this point, your best guess would be that it's on the other side of the gate.
Just on the other side of the gate?
Not very far past that at all.
Okay. And how far away is the wall? Not necessarily the gate, but the wall from where I am right now.
It would probably be from the corner of the keep, 60 feet. to the closest point of the wall.
Okay. What I would like to do is use a key point to use a bonus action to make a dash. And then I will use my move action to move, so I can move 100 feet. I'd like to go to the wall and up it. So I'm at the top. Meantime, I'm going to be stash my sword, pulling out my longbow. And when I get to the top, I would like to use my action to shoot the singer.
Okay, let's see. So you had how much movement?
100.
100. Okay, 60 feet to there, 40 feet up. Yeah, that's absolutely doable. Okay. And then, do I not have her? Oh, there we go. Okay. Then you kind of you run up to where there's like a staircase that kind of leads up.
Oh, I'm just going to
onto
go up straight up the wall.
Oh, okay. And that's something a monk does as a part of a normal move? Yeah?
That is what she does now.
Okay.
Let me just check it up.
You just kind of Spider-Man right up the...
Yeah, I Spider-Man run.
The wall. Little... what is that movie?
What's it called?
Inception? Wall, floor, it doesn't matter.
Do you think I could find it when I need it? What's it called? It is called unarmored movement. Oh, that's why it's very, very unarmored movement improvement. Ooh, you can move along vertical surfaces on your turn without falling during the move. So it's
good grief. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very much kind of the old kung fu movie. It just right okay. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you run right up to the wall, run right up the wall, and you very quickly kind of land on the parapet, rise up, kind of looking out over. There is a gargantuan throng of corpses that are kind of like throwing themselves as like a concerted effort into the portcullis. And you can see that like several of the stones that kind of form the, I guess the channels or whatever that the upper part of the portcullis kind of slides up and down in, they're like coming loose. And several of them have like fallen away. So the structural integrity of this gatehouse that holds this portcullis is failing against the immense tide of bodies that are being thrown against this. But looking for the source of the singing itself, not far from this throng, kind of at the back of where the collection of these bodies is, you see a woman standing, and it is very clear to you that she is not amongst the rotting bodies of plague mouth victims. She is healthy looking, is very much kind of dressed in similar clothing to some of the other practitioners of magic that you have come across in your travels. Some of the same symbols and trappings. You might see things like, petrified birds' talons, small animal skulls, things of that nature kind of draped about her person. She is singing, and as, like I said, as she kind of crescendos in volume with her song, that seems to be when this throng of corpses slams itself into the portcullis. For now, at least, she does not seem to see you.
Okay. I would like to loose an arrow upon her.
You may do so.
18 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so I am going to use a key point to make this, to add a D8. Get even more of a strike. So, oh, yay! I got a 1 and a 3 on the dice. Woo! So that's 8 points of magical damage.
Okay. Yeah, this arrow kind of sinks into like her thigh, kind of just above the knee. and she kind of reels, definitely in pain, but also surprise. Where she then kind of like turns and looks to try to find the direction where the arrow must have come from, and spots you, and you can see her eyes kind of narrow, but she doesn't do anything other than continuing to sing, although it looks like she may have plans to do something. Oh, that is Ari's turn. It is actually her turn next. So, as she'll never adventure again. She'll have to move to Whiterun. She's going to turn towards you, Ari, and is going to move that direction. Kind of making her way around the outside of this. No. She's actually going to walk straight towards you. And as she's walking towards you, the shambling corpses actually like part kind of ahead of her and then reconvene and close kind of behind her. And she's going to walk close to you, still kind of singing, and in the breaks of her kind of singing this song, she gesticulates, and you feel the air next to you start to kind of take on this unsettling feeling, almost like when you're in like a dark forest and you just don't quite feel safe. You think something might kind of be watching you, or you feel like, you're not quite alone. It's almost like that. Like the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up as the air next to you begins to kind of develop this unnatural, uncomfortable feeling. And what is your AC again?
17.
17. Okay. This feeling from the air beside you all of a sudden zaps out, shoots out towards you, and is going to attach itself to you. Okay. You are going to take 17 points of necrotic damage, and you can feel kind of like a flow, a line that is created between you and this unnatural space beside you. It's very much like a leech that you can tell is likely to continue to pull on you. So mechanically, this is a reskinned witch bolt. She lands this beside you, and it immediately starts to sap your life force from you. Okay, that is her. We're moving right along to Sir John.
So I think the zombies are streaming into this courtyard faster than we can kill them. And we've got Tord and Eddard at the door that we're trying to get through. Ari has just run up on top of the wall, and Dane is in the middle of this courtyard. And I'm back at our old point where we had the protective barrier until Dane moved and set up a new one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody's kind of on the same face of the building, if you will. You're on the corner. Tord and Eddard are at the door. Dane is about halfway between the two groups of you, and then Ari is out away from you, actually on the wall of the interior courtyard.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I'm going to move over to Dane. Dane's been suffering some additional attacks this round, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to focus my attacks on cutting the zombies off of him.
Okay.
I've got 3 as usual, and I will prioritize ones that have already been injured. So I've got an 18 to hit.
Yes.
for 15 damage.
Okay. There's one injured one by my count, so that will go to him. It will be enough to kill him.
Cool, great. Yeah, so I think I just come over and like it's another fairly precise sword thrust, like through the throat of a zombie that's kind of over Dane's shoulder. Next one is a 24 to hit.
Also will hit.
And another 15 damage.
Okay, that one is a fresh one, so it will still be up after that strike, but it is certainly wounded.
Cool. And then for my last trick, I'm going to do another attack, but I'm going to do a maneuver, I'm pretty sure. Let's hope I hit. That's, yeah, definitely a 22 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to add a superiority die to the damage roll. All right. So that's going to be a 15, 20 damage total to this zombie.
The same one that you just injured?
No, I think I'm
New
going
one?
for a different one now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
20 points. All right. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, that one dies too. It's close enough that we'll call it.
Okay. All right. So then so what happens here is I'm like, Dane, remember the winged fella gambit. And I'm letting you use a reaction to move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks from the zombies here.
Okay. So with that, what I do is as you are pulling back the sword from this one that you thrust into, I'll roll sort of back to back off of you, going low underneath your next attack, sort of under that wing, and then moving out that 15 feet to get a little bit further up, drawing my sword for real, as that being part of the maneuver, and
Cool.
turning to face back into you. So what would normally be you were fighting would be between the two of us now.
Cool.
Excellent, excellent. All right. You know, and as you kind of move, they're all making like half-hearted attempts to try to kind of reach out to you and grab a hold. But your footwork and your practiced maneuvers and things have made it so that you're able to escape most of the fleeting attempts at grasping a hold of you. All right, that was Sir John. Eddard. All right. Let's see here. Eddard is going to push open the front doors of the keep. Wait. Wait a second. He pushes against the front doors of the keep, and they do not open. The same, this, though it does have a keyhole, unlike the doors to the chapel, they behave much the same way. And Eddard's screaming as he's kind of pushing against these, and it's just kind of not going anywhere. He says, I don't understand. They were open. When we came back, we didn't close them behind us. They were open. I know they were. I think we're going to go ahead and take our break right here. So yeah, 10 minutes. Go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, kiss your spouse, smoke them if you got them, etc., etc. We are at the end of the round, so when we come back, we can start at the top. That's nice and clean. Yeah, I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled with how this is going so far. Hopefully, everybody else is having a grand old time. Sit tight, and we will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of tonight's episode. This is episode 39, For Whom the Bell Tolls. This is our 5th edition Arthurian-themed long-running campaign. We are 4 years in at this point of real time, which is insane to think about, especially given everything that has happened over the last 4 years in the world. And in many of our lives, but it's been good to have all of you along for some of that. It's always good to have people that you can game with that are also good friends. You can talk to when you need to and lean on whenever you need a little bit of help. I'm very fortunate in that way, both with the players in this game and with the community at large, especially around the Absolute Tabletop group on Facebook. Lots and lots of tremendous people over there. Loosely Arthurian themed, all right? I claim a lot of artistic license. All right. So, we rejoin the 5 of you outside of the keep in the city of Warrenton, far in the north of Vykaril. The town has been beset by a plague, ravaged, really. There are no more living souls that call this place home. But as you have now discovered, the dead here now have an unlife to them. And it seems as though it may, in some way, in some fashion, be tied to this individual who is singing outside of the gate and is causing this throng of corpses to fling itself in unison against the gates. However, the rest of you, aside from Ari, are kind of against the wall of that keep, making your way towards the front door, battling these creatures away as you go. And you have now discovered, Eddard has now discovered, that the front doors of the keep appear to be locked. So, back at the top of the round, about 15 feet away from the door now is Dane.
All right. So part of Dane's attention obviously is on this portcullis, where he's maintaining that spell that is hopefully dissolving the majority of things that are launching themselves into it. It's not going to be 33 damage this time; it'll only be 27, but still, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
So anything that starts its turn or ends its turn in that 30 foot outside of that. But as Eddard Eddard is normally a pretty calm individual. So seeing him brought to panic over this door, I don't think it's like just a thing where Eddard forgot the keys, right? So I'm going to move towards the door, towards Eddard, and as I do, I make a quick incantation in ancient Vykarilian, and I point at the door, and I'm going to cast Dispel Magic targeted on the door, hoping that it is some sort of spell. So if it's 3rd level or lower, it's automatically dispelled, and then for each spell 4th level or higher, I have to make an ability check.
Yeah, let me check something real quick. I know that it specifically addresses it.
Oh, nice.
In here. I just didn't put it in my notes. Dane cannot do anything to undo this. I'm sorry, Steve.
It's in the rules. What can I do?
Let's see. Dispel magic cast on a... Okay. The entire thing? Really? Oh, no. Oh, only that effect. Okay. What spell level are you at as a warlock now?
Funny you should ask. I can cast 5th level spells, but I have a 6th level spell slot that's granted to me because of the warlock I am.
Interesting. Okay. And this is from a warlock.
This is my last pact spell.
Okay.
I will be magical for this.
It's at least 5th level, which is fairly potent. Okay. Do this. I know this is not usually something that casters have to worry about, but let's roll a caster check. So roll a d20 and add your ability modifier, which I think is charisma.
So you want a modifier or a spell attack? One is proficiency.
I guess it would be the same. It would be the same as a spell attack. Yes, your proficiency plus your modifier to your d20 roll.
28 total.
Okay. All right. So, a part of what happened, I'm going to explain it so that way then you can describe what it's going to be like. A part of this thing that triggered whenever Eddard grabbed the shield, part of it is all of the doors that are networked in this effect have had arcane lock cast upon them. So your dispel magic, technically, according to the way that the spell is, that this particular thing is working, destroys one of the effects that's in this area. So because you are casting things at 5th level, I don't know that this is intended, but I'm going to have it to where the arcane lock portion of this spell trap is undone entirely. So now all of the doors will be, that part of them will be dispelled. So they're no longer going to be locked. So however you want to describe that, looking as far as Dane's powers and things like that, please take it and run with it.
So I think cinematically we see Dane moving towards it, and that hand motion, and there's that same sort of golden light that's normally how he heals that creeps along the cracks of this ground, running underneath, and the camera follows it underneath this mist, climbing up the door and entering the lock. And there is this almost tug of war battle between Dane's magic and the magic that was used to create this lock, because it wasn't just some imbecile who did it. And so there's this push and push and push, and I don't think it's purely the dispel magic. I think the magic that is there's a recognition, a kindredness that it recognizes, and that's why it allows the whole thing to sort of dissipate. It's like, all right, this is what it looks like. And I think emotionally, magically, Dane is pleading with it. Like there's, we're going to die out here, and the shield's lost, and Warrington's lost. And I think what finally seals it is, the last words of "and Vykaril is lost," and that's when there's that sort of click.
Yeah, I almost see like the golden light from your hand, maybe even like tracing the wood grain of like the door itself, and like it kind of like is just glowing in those kind of wood grain pattern of the wood. And then as this permission is finally given, when this magic barrier is allowed to fall, that kind of glow just kind of seeps into the grains of the wood and disappears. And then there's that as the doors then kind of give to the pressure that Eddard's kind of putting on them.
And I think the last, and Vykaril's lost isn't spoken, mentally by Dane, but rather by Celestial, by my sword, which is in essence. And there's that recognition of, oh, I know you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay. You managed to push the door open. You are able to move inside if you would like to.
Yeah, I will move inside the door, holding it open. Come on, come on.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and say, since Edward was there and really all he was doing was pushing on the door anyways, he's able to step through without any problem. Dane, now that you have opened the door, immediately following you is Tord.
I am going to hold my action to cover Sir John. I'll actually maybe even move a few steps down to just assist in anything coming at him.
So you're going to head further away from the door then?
Yes, but not much. Not enough to where it's like...
Maybe just like at the bottom of like the couple of steps that lead up to the door or something?
5 feet.
Okay. Absolutely. All right, so Tord kind of steps out just a little, maybe even like kind of opening some space for anybody else to kind of pass behind him to get through the door, with the intention of trying to help Sir John. There are still plenty of these things that are within reach. If you want to make some attacks toward, you can, but if you'd rather hold your action to anything that's chasing or whatnot, then you can do that as well.
I think realistically, I would hold until there's like a critical moment or something of that nature.
Excellent. I hear you. All right. That was Tord. Okay. It is now the Bloodmouth Plague undead. Ari's trying to hide. Oh no. She's on the wall. You're fine. Out in the yard still. Lots of milkshakes to drink. Let's see. Dane is inside, Eddard is inside, so we've got Sir John and Sir Tord. You know what? We're pushing the narrative, we're pushing the tension. We're going to throw 4 at each one of you. You're the only 2 snacks left. So, here we go. Tord, both of you have an AC of 19, so this should be easy to figure out. Got Tord first. Numero 1. Miss. 2. It is a hit. 3 is a miss, and 4 is another miss. Okay, so the one that hits you, Tord, is a claw. So it's going to be slashing damage to the tune of 8 points of damage. All right, and now for Sir John. Miss. Oh, there's a miss. Another miss, and oh, okay, John. That's a crit against. It is a claw. So this is going to be, again, slashing damage to the tune of 17 points of damage. You're kind of making your way to the door, and this thing, as it's kind of falling beneath one of your sword strokes that isn't quite enough to kill it, manages to dig in kind of at the top of your greave and dig its fingers into almost like where the first knuckle on its hand is. Just push straight into your flesh with surprising strength.
I want to, on one of those misses, I want to spend a superiority die and riposte.
Sure, absolutely.
So I'm going to spend that. I'm going to make the attack roll. And it is a 27 to hit. Mm-hmm. So let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, add the superiority die to the damage roll. Cool. All right. Oh, dang, that's almost max damage. That's incredible. So 19 plus 9 is 28 damage total.
Yeah, with prejudice. You can describe what it looks like if you'd like.
So I think like there are these two that come at me, and I dodge to the side of one of them, and then I use my shield to like get the other one kind of nudged out of the way. And then I get kind of bashed backwards because my shield is pinned up against me. And this thing is like snarling over the shield. And so I bump it out. And then I think I just like come through and cut it clean in half. And I cut it like in half at the waist, and it starts to fall over sideways. And then my backstroke comes through and decapitates it. And I've got my sword arm extended all the way from the cut, and that's when the fourth one comes over and scratches me on the forearm.
All right. Are you moving at all?
Well, that was the bad guy's turn. So
true.
Yeah, that was a reaction that I did.
Never mind. We'll save that
haven't
question
even begun
for later. Perfect. All right. And again, like these things are, it's unsettling the entire time that they're just like flailing against you and trying to bite. They're still like, all kind of like in unison, all of them together in harmony with each other, just over and over and over again. Ari, it is your turn.
All right, standing up at the top of the wall, she takes in a breath and steadies herself, and I'm using a bonus action called Kensei Shot to make the damage of this bow an extra d4 on each shot this turn.
Okay.
And then I will loose one arrow and then another, because I found on my my sheet that I get 2 attacks.
Yep, absolutely.
One right after the other at the woman singing.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is a 14 to hit.
That will miss.
Okay, but the second one is a crit.
Okay. That'll hit for sure.
That is lovely. And I am going to I want to use a key point to make that second one have an additional d8. I don't know if that's on your crit. If I do that twice, I have to spend 1 key point to get that. That's your call, or if it just goes on the second one.
What is it again? The key adds to your crit?
When I spend 1 key point to cause the weapon to deal an extra 1d8 damage.
Oh, then yes, that also gets multiplied. So
beautiful.
You would take the max from that and then roll it as well.
Okay, so max is 8 plus 8 plus 4. So that's 20 plus 8, 12. So 32 points of magical damage.
Grief. Okay, that is 40 on her total by my account. She's still up. She is pissed at you.
Good.
Okay, 2 shots. The first of which she kind of turns sideways and it clatters off of the cobblestones of like the area outside of the gatehouse where this throng is pressing against the door. But as she kind of steps aside to let that one miss, she turns back and catches the other one like straight in like the top of where her chest and shoulder kind of meet. And it sinks like almost down to the fletchings of your arrow. She recoils from that and kind of hisses at you, momentarily breaking the song that she is singing. And as she does so, the throng kind of like settles for just a moment until she can pick up the singing again, and then it kind of convenes and begins its assault again. Okay.
Oh, I forgot the d4. Sorry, an additional d4. So
oh yeah.
Because so it'd be 4 plus another 1, so 5 more points. Sorry about that.
Additional 5 points. Okay, 45. She is still kicking. Okay. Okay. You are still on this wall. You've just kind of fired down twice. She's still looking at you, and she has, even though she's somewhat focused on this throng, she has kind of one hand kind of outstretched to you, and you feel that sickened, that poisoned air next to you kind of make a pulse and then kind of pulls in. And it's kind of one of those things where like it pulses out and then immediately pulls back with stronger force. So you are going to take, because you didn't move, right?
Nope, I did not.
I didn't think you had, but this is going to be necrotic again. And 14 points of necrotic damage. As again, you kind of feel the life force kind of being drawn, almost like as if it were sucked through a straw, kind of out of you. Oh, I need to check to see what, because I think that takes her action to do. So let's see the other plan that she had. Make it work this turn. Oh, it will. It will. Okay. You then watch Ari as she moves forward to where there's this pool of coagulated blood and ichor that has kind of like begun to develop underneath where Dane's spell is just like chewing through this mass at the gate. She walks towards that, and as her feet kind of touch the edge of this puddle, she literally just falls face first into it and disappears as if it was a body of water. You hear a noise over your shoulder, and turning around, you see on the wall, not far from you, she has literally stepped up and out of a body that is viscerated, sitting here on the wall. She just used Misty Step. So she has closed with you. She kind of looks at you and hisses, "Hey, I'm going to kill you now." And then immediately begins trying to sing to her adoring fans below. Sir John, it is your turn.
All right, so I'm going to move, if I can move into, like, past the threshold of the keep and then take up a defensive position. I think that's what I would prefer to do.
Are you still at the corner of the keep? Is that right?
No, I had moved over to where Dane was, then let Dane
that's right.
move another 15 feet.
So you're about 30 feet away. So yeah, if you're moving, you would get to the door.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I'll move to the door. And I think Tord was in front of me, like he is in front of me now. So are there any zombies within reach for me, or am I good to just take up a defensive position?
Even at this point, like as you're fleeing to the door, there's going to be, them chasing you at the very least.
Sure. Okay, then I'm going to make some attacks.
Okay.
That one of them is a miss. I rolled a 1. I guess it's a 12.
Yeah, it's a miss.
And then the other one is a 21.
That'll hit.
And then the third one is an 18.
Also a hit.
Cool. So let's see, 2 hits and a miss. First one is 12 damage. And the second one is 13 damage. And I think, like, if I don't kill one with the first blow, I'm going to hit it again with the second one.
Okay. Yeah, so those 2 blows will fell another one of them.
Cool.
And you are also moving, right, towards the door?
Yeah, as much as I can.
All right, yeah, so we'll say that you're basically able to step through the threshold of the door. That leaves Tord and Ari outside still. Tord, you were holding your action. There are definitely those that are coming after Sir John, so you would have the opportunity to take your readied action if you would like.
Yeah, I'll make a strike.
Mhm.
17 to hit.
Oh yes.
Or 7 slashing and 2 radiant this time.
17 and 2.
No, just 7 and 2.
Oh, 7 and 2. Okay. That's okay. And I think there's been some discussion about how this is supposed to work, rules is written, but when you ready an action, you get your full attack action. At least the way that we rule it. Well. So if you want, you can take a second swing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You may even have 3. No, you're a paladin.
I do not.
I think fighters are the only ones that get that.
10 to hit total, so I think I missed the second attack.
Yeah, that will be a miss. The first one is a solid hit. It does stagger it, however, it is still alive, air quotes. But your second swing at it, it's just not there. Maybe it's even kind of like a halfway parting shot or something as you're backing away towards the door. And they're kind of trying to more or less just kind of keep these things away as best you can.
Probably seeing Ari on the wall with Mystery Woman as well.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Eddard is inside with the shield. He's probably going to start fumbling with the big wooden beam that is able to be kind of dropped into the brackets on the back side of the door to try to help fortify it once everybody's inside. He probably is also realizing that Ari is not there, and he's kind of calling, where is she? Where's Ari?
I got eyes on her. I see her. She's on the wall.
Do we wait? Do we wait for her? Or do we close the door?
Do we see windows coming into this place?
In the keep? Yes. They are higher up, and they're, most of them are narrow. Now, knowing what you know of Ari, she could probably bypass them.
I'm going to hold where I'm at.
Okay. Before we get to your point in the initiative, we just did Eddard. He's going to hold as well. He's going to, again, kind of start messing with that. I'm sure there's a name for it, but basically the brace that's going to go against the back of the door. So that brings us to the top of the initiative order with Dane.
So Ari's on top of the wall. How far away from the door is she? From where we are?
I think it's probably about 70 feet at this point, give or take.
Okay. And the woman's up there with her, right?
Yes. Anybody who looks out there can see that she is not alone on that parapet.
And the singing this woman's doing, you said it was of the old magic. So is she singing in like ancient Vykarilian?
It has some similarities to Vykarilian.
Gotcha. So more like it's a form of Gaelic, not necessarily Scots Gaelic. So
right.
Like, I can pick up some. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So there's something like to the core antithetical to this about her to Dane, because he spent all of his time espousing that magic's not bad, and this woman's like the antithesis of his mother, like quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
With the manipulation of the dead versus his mother, who's much more in tune with life magic and nature. And as hurt as he is, and still having just reached the safety of this this room, wow. So Dane goes running back out the door. And I will move 40 feet. I do have the mobile feet, which gives me an additional 10 feet. Okay. So that'll move me 40 with that run. And as I hit that last stride, much like she did, and I didn't see her do this, but I think it's very cinematically appropriate.
Definitely.
As I hit that last step, I fall into a puddle of water.
Nice.
And I will pop right back up next to her on that wall using Misty Step.
Excellent. So with her between you and Ari, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, gotcha.
And since I've only used my move in a bonus action, I'll attack her.
When in Rome, why not?
Why wouldn't I? Right.
Excellent.
So, I would hope I hit. 23.
Yes,
All
definitely.
right. And second attack with limits, 24.
Also
So
will hit.
nothing too crazy as far as I'm not sure I don't swing the big massive sword. So it's going to be 11 points of damage.
Okay.
From my magical sword.
All right. So you managed to all but like drive this straight through her back. She kind of screams out in pain. I think Witch Bolt is a concentration based spell. Maybe it is. You dealt how much again?
I'll be honest with you, I've already forgotten. That's
Okay, no problem.
11? Was it 11?
That sounds right. 11? Oh yeah, you know what? If only I was writing it down, which I am. Yes, it is 11.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. She needs a Constitution saving throw with. Boom. It has to be half the damage or 10, whichever is higher. Okay, she succeeded on her concentration check. So
okay.
the quote-unquote witch bolt that she has, that's called sapping bolt, is still active and still connected to Ari. But she takes this stab and is not pleased. Something else I was looking up, but I think we can move on to Tord. Your turn.
Tord is going to. I'm just going to secure the door at this point. I'm going to use my action to attack whatever zombies have moved closest. I'll just keeping an eye on Dane and Ari.
Okay.
If I need to move up there as well. But right now I'm just staying where I'm at. And I'm going to make 2 attacks.
Okay, cool. So you're going to kind of maybe even like shout back to Eddard to like hold off on, shutting the door and barricading it, especially now that Dane has kind of run back out into the courtyard.
Exactly.
You're able to kind of step up to some of them that are closing with the front door and swing your sword.
I got a 22 and a 17.
Both of those will hit.
The first will be 5 points of slashing, 8 points of radiant.
Oh, shit. Okay. That'll kill that one outright.
And the second will be 9 points of slashing, 8 points of radiant.
Holy shit, man.
Rolled max on the radiant twice.
Another one. So yeah, I mean, you're just with kind of almost at this point practiced ease, you're cutting these things down just as fast as they can basically step up to you.
I think in Tord's eyes, like as I've been fighting, my sword has been like cutting through that gaseous miasma that I'm like clouded in right now. It's all I'm not seeing the faces or like disfigured faces thereof of the townsfolk as much as I'm seeing like, and I seen it like with the bites inflicted upon Dane and Eddard, like worms or corruption, like these masses of like writhing kind of spectral tentacles, kind of gaseous red miasmic tentacles, and like the bite. I seen Eddard get bit, and you said I recognized. Like in my mind, maybe I even seen like the remnants of these worms kind of like feasting upon the neck before they like dissipate. Up on this parapet, I see the cloaked aura of Ariana Shiel, but I also see the radiance that is Dane, as well as this just pit. But I kill some zombies and I hold the door.
Excellent. Okay. So down outside on the stoop, if you will, of this keep, Tord keeps these creatures at bay while Eddard tries to ready the door. Dane, Ari are on the wall with this singing woman. That was Tord. It is their turn. Okay. The undead are going to try their best to swarm Tord, who is the only one currently on the ground here outside. Let's see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 16 of these things so far by my count. It leaves roughly a dozen, a little more than a dozen, give or take. Let's see if you take up a 5-foot square. All right, Tord, you're getting the gauntlet thrown at you. These things have surrounded you and are going to, each one of them, try to attack you. This is going to equate to 8 attacks against you. Okay.
They will try.
They will try. First is a hit. Second, miss. Third is a hit. Fourth, miss. Fifth is a hit and a critical. Sixth. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Hit again, another critical. 7. That's another hit, but it's not a critical. 8. Okay, miss. And 9. Miss. Okay. Tord, all right. 5 of them managed to get through. We're going to determine what they are. The third and fourth were criticals. The first one is a claw. The second is a bite. The third is a claw. That's a critical. The fourth is also a claw, a critical. And the last is also a claw. Okay, so one of them is a bite, and it's not a critical, so we're going to handle that one first. You don't need to bother with the con save because you're a paladin. So it's going to be piercing damage to the tune of 10 points. Okay, and now we have 4 claw attacks to resolve, 2 of which are critical. We'll resolve the non-criticals first. Well, I guess that doesn't make as much sense because it could matter. We'll do 1, 2, 2, and 1. Oh my god. Okay, the first one that's not a critical did roll maximum damage, however, for 10 points of slashing. Okay, this one is going to be the first of the criticals. Also slashing damage for 17 points. The next one is the second critical. Also slashing for 15 points. And the last one, also slashing but not critical. Also fucking max damage, is another 10 points of slashing. They are, anybody who can see Tord, he is quickly surrounded. It is starting to be like overrun. These things have literally swarmed over him like angry bees and are tearing him apart. Fuck me running. Okay. In addition, the gate slams again. Ari, Dane, on the wall, you feel the rumble in your boots as the stones fall away from the gatehouse, not putting you in any immediate danger, but the portcullis falls. Immediately, these creatures begin swarming into the courtyard. Many of them are completely and totally shredded by Dane's spell that is still going, as far as I understand it. But it's only, what, 15 feet diameter?
30.
Is that right? 30 feet diameter. Okay. So it is killing a massive swath of these things. But some of them are squeaking by the sides. Some of them are passing their saving throw. Some of them are making it through. Some of them are even going up and over because of the sheer volume of these things. So while a huge mass of them are being torn apart by this spell, there are a few of them that are still getting through, and it's enough that this courtyard is lost ground at this point. I don't think there's a single one of your characters that would think otherwise, looking at the situation.
Whoever is surveying the field sees the gate fail, and Tord fail along with it. I got dropped.
Oh. So yeah, where they are swarming toward on the stoop outside the door, he goes down under the weight of these things as they claw and pull at his body. Okay. That was the undead. Ari, you're up.
Oh man. Okay, but Ari's just got eyes for this woman. She's seeing in the corner of the eye that the carnage that's happening at the door, knows that the portcullis has fallen. Like this is it. Everything rides on this right now, this moment, if Dane and her can take out this woman. So she's up here. Ari is just going to run towards her, bow in one hand, kind of drop to the side, and as she closes the gap, she is going to kind of like do that leaping jump and punch her first, and then we're going to follow it by when she drops to the ground, kind of a swing around kick to the woman.
Okay.
So we'll see how we hit here. Okay, so the punch is a 24 to hit.
Yes, that will hit.
Okay. It's not a Kensei weapon. What I am going to do is I'm going to make this a stunning strike. So I need you to make a con save while I roll damage. DC is 15.
Okay, 15. Let's see, she has DC of 15?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the second time that's happened tonight, but I hit the DC exactly.
Okay. Well, she will take 9 points of bludgeoning damage, which is also magical, from my fist.
Let me record that 9 points, because she's also going to have to make a concentration again against that spell that she has. So it should be a DC 10 again. She made it. Okay.
Okay.
Your second attack then?
The second attack just missed. It whiffed.
Okay.
But I am going to use as bonus action, I am going to do Flurry of Blows.
Okay. That's a further 2, is that right?
Yeah, I get two more attacks. Of which, again, let's say a knee or a swing, and another uppercut or something will go for it. Okay, those are better rolls. We're talking about a 19 and a 21.
Both of which will make contact.
Perfect. Okay. So.
Ooh, I think she's gonna fail that one.
So 11 points and 9 points. So 20 more points of bludgeoning damage.
20 more points of bludgeoning damage. She absolutely drops the spell, that kind of sapping space of air beside you all of a sudden releases this kind of connection that it seemed to have with you as she loses concentration on her spell. She is bleeding from the corners of her mouth, her nose. She is not looking great. However, she is still standing. And as she does so, seeing that she has succeeded in bringing down the portcullis and that her other spell has failed, she begins casting another spell. Her gesticulation, her somatic components to this are much grander, much broader, but she's still speaking this archaic Vykarilian, this old magic language as she does so. And as she is finishing the casting of this spell, up from the mortar of the stone that forms this wall all around you, from her is a green, yellowish, dense fog that is run through with these, what we haven't seen, what your characters haven't seen, but this red miasma that Tord was seeing, kind of woven through it in this strange, almost cellular kind of pattern. She is casting Cloud Kill. So I need Dane and Ariana both to make Constitution saving throws, please.
I'd also like to use a reaction while she does this, but I'll also do that save.
Okay. Okay. All right, Dane got a 16. What'd you get, Ari?
I got an 11.
11. You're immune to poison also?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. All right, monk. So then I guess you won't take anything from this. But Dane, you passed, so you will only take half. Full damage was 23 points of poison damage. So you will take 11 of that. As this kind of choking, gagging kind of gas seems to kind of fill in the space all around you. You manage to hold your breath or something, but even like where your skin is exposed, you can feel like almost instantaneously these small little like blisters starting to form, as it seems to be more than just in a consumed kind of poison. Okay, that is her go.
So my reaction.
Oh, your reaction. Yes.
Yeah, she needs to make a DC 17 dex save.
Okay. DC 17. I don't know that she can accomplish that, especially not rolling like that. Okay, so she failed.
Right. So, as she does that, as these pox grow over my body, and cinematically foreshadowing, as the reason I managed to only take half damage is I leaped from the wall. We'll cover that when it gets found in my initiative. I can turn towards her as I'm falling towards the ground. It's 6, 11, 15. She'll take 20 points of fire damage. As I have Warcaster, so I can use a reaction to cast a full action spell on somebody. This is my Sacred Flame cantrip. And so I do call down that fire onto her, boosting it by 5 points of damage to the 20, because of my radiant nature.
Dane, what does it look like as you kill Drygessa, the Witch of Pestilence?
So I think what the way it actually plays out is this fire like bursts onto her, and as she is recoiling from that, I think she just runs backwards into Ari's blade So as she steps to get out of the way of it, you just see that moment, and then you see that blade from Ari start sliding through her chest. As Hank is launching himself from this parapet, so I had to close distance towards Tord. So,
all right. As the witch falls, as this portcullis crumbles down to the ground, and this wave of corpses kind of spills out as they kind of like hit the ground, rolling under their own weight and the weight of the others in their vicinity, and then immediately coming out of that roll and scrambling up to their feet, some of them running on all fours for a couple of feet until they manage to get up on their legs fully. They begin kind of closing that distance. The ones that have just felled Tord on this stoop are beginning to like pull at the areas of his armor and like handfuls of hair as they are starting to rake on his skin, trying to open him. All of this is happening, and the Witch of Pestilence has cast this spell on the two of you, kind of throwing you into this lethal cloud, or would be lethal cloud. And as your reaction lashes out to her and she falls back on Ari's blade, her body slumps to the ground, and at the same tempo, the same pace, every single one of these bloodmouth plague victims likewise falls to the ground, no longer moving, no longer whispering. And the city around you is thrust into a deafening silence. I think this is where we're going to stop for tonight. It's a good break point. I think the next part would probably be better to have Josh with us if possible. And I know that there's a few of us that are needing our beds, which is which is great. You'll be able to get to Tord. Do you have magic that has healing and stuff with it still, Dane?
So I have my warlock ability. So basically, what I was envisioning is I don't have acrobatics at all. So what I'm envisioning is I have to launch myself off of this wall, which I imagine is some 20, 30 feet tall.
Yeah, definitely.
And as I close that distance, once I'm within 60 feet of him, I can heal him for 5d8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, we'll know that Tord is able to start next session as stabilized. He's not having to make death saves or anything like that whenever we come back. But we will come back with basically all of you being able to reconvene at the doors of the keep, essentially.
The epic moment where Tord just punches up through the bodies of all these things.
No, I definitely have something I want to do.
Oh, nice.
Okay. All right. So we'll start right at that moment as Dane's kind of like landing and getting up and kind of running to him.
I fucking died again. God damn it.
Well, I can heal him from a distance, so I'll be doing that.
Right.
That's fine.
You came close, but you didn't die.
You have to experience something with me, but we'll do that next time.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so with the deafening silence, I think that's where we're gonna go ahead and call it this evening. But yeah, this was awesome. It was really good to get the chance to get another one in kind of before the end of the year, before the holidays kind of fully hit. So I'm really thankful that we were able to get one in, especially since we didn't get the chance to game last month. So thank all of you very, very much for being such just spectacular players, especially in situations like this where I know that it's grueling and punishing, but it's so rewarding to see you all pull together and triumph whenever even I start to question whether it's going to work or not. That's always exciting as a dungeon master. So thank you.
You got me by 3 HP.
3 points?
3 points.
If I can drop the paladin, I'm a happy dungeon master. I'm not gonna lie. Paladins are hard, especially with a 19 AC.
That was close. If you had one less critical against me, I probably would have lived.
I rolled, I don't know, 5, 6 criticals?
That's where she goes sometimes.
Anyways, Merry Christmas. You all get a present. No. Yeah, y'all are all wonderful. I love you all. I'm going to pass things over to my fine players so that they can give any parting words that they would like, and I think we're going to call it a year. So we'll start in reverse order with Eli.
You caught me putting my dice away. So, hi, everybody. I'm Eli, and I think that as we fade to black, we see Sir Dane, like, leaping off the wall and getting close enough to hurl the spell. We also see, so, like, the spell is racing toward, and then Sir John just, like, throws his shield aside and goes after these zombies with his longsword, and he's just, like, hacking away at them, even as they're falling. And so, yeah, like the spell hits just as he's like chopping a head off really quick, and they're all like falling away and everything. And yeah, that was a really good session. It's great to play in. Very happy to like flex our combat muscles a little bit, and really looking forward to next time.
Yeah, it's great because we can go sessions ? Without combat, sometimes without rolling dice in certain situations. And every single one of you is a capable enough player for that not to feel like a lull. Getting into the meat of what's going on with all of your characters and the ways that they're connected to the world and the ways that they're connected to each other. And it's riveting to get to watch and consume as an audience. And then whenever we turn to combat, every single one of you does an incredible job at describing what your characters are doing. Everything, all of their moves and their attacks are all grounded in who we understand them to be as capable adventurers. So it's very, very gratifying to be able to play both sides of the field like that, and have you guys as players, or you folks as players, do such a tremendous amount of lifting in this game. So thank you. Speaking of a tremendous amount of lifting, Steve.
Look, I know I put back on a few pounds, but
Jesus,
it's the holidays, man. No, it was a very good session. Like it's a very interesting thing. I talk about this a lot to one of my buddies. Horror is a very hard thing to accomplish in D&D because you can heal your way through it. Like it's very hard to be afraid of a situation. So it does require some commitment, some selling on the part of the players, but you do such a good job of setting the tone of the environment and then keeping us on our toes. We don't exactly know what is going on to be able to, because I think as experienced players, you don't mean to, you end up metagaming a little bit because just the mechanics, you know them, right? I think it's great that no one does that. No one's like really like hovering over their HP and like they're still throwing themselves into stuff. I enjoyed the combats. I enjoy the roleplay the most, but the combats are fun, especially because you can almost see the growth of the relationships of the characters in the way that our combat works together now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, really, really fun session. And besides, it's not really the holidays unless there's zombies.
Too true.
It's just not that and Die Hard. How do you do it? But yeah, happy holidays and Merry Christmas and everything else. Hanukkah, I think, just started, right? So
I think today.
Yeah, anybody's watching or partakes in that, and if you don't, just have a great rest of December and early part of January, and Happy New Year to everybody. I'm exhausted. So
yeah, man, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And again, like echoing everything else that you've said, it's awesome that that we've been playing long enough that the players as well as the characters understand how one another even function in combat, where the strengths and weaknesses are, how to play into those with each other as a team. That's always a really fun stride to hit as an adventuring party. Whenever you know and trust that other people are going to fill a gap that needs filling, and that you don't have to do that. You can put your efforts elsewhere. Yeah, it's really awesome to watch that synergy kind of form and then work time and time again. All of you are very, very good about that with your characters. So yeah, thank you. Okay, moving right along, we have Karen.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. And I guess if in the future, if you've gotten to this point by now, you've also watched. So thank you. This was a really epic battle, and I was afraid. I still am afraid for all of us at this point. You have like we were talking about how it's really hard in these games because you're like, we can just protect ourselves, we can just heal back up. To have the fear of actually, hey, we might not make it this time, and you have an amazing way of setting up a situation and a combat where that happens, where you are afraid that this might not be the one we can get out of. So I enjoyed the session. It was great. I can't wait for the aftermath and all the stuff that we have to pick up afterwards. So thanks.
There are no broken pieces in this game, except the characters and some of the NPCs and most of the infrastructure of the kingdom. No. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Again, just it does, like Steve said, it requires a lot of buy-in from players, especially experienced players, to be able to allow yourself to have that worry and that concern. So having enough of an established relationship and trust between us as Dungeon Master and as players to know that we can push it really close to the edge of where all of us are worried that it might not be the one that keeps going. To be able to pull that off over and over again is such a cool feeling. And you can't do that without very capable players. So thank all of you again. All right, speaking of capable players, last but certainly not least, Baron.
I think the epilogue for the credits here are a similar or familiar scene witnessed within the halls of the Headhunter. I feel like we see this scene with the fade on high. It's bright. The grass squishes beneath boots towards armor. His cloak kind of falls away from his face, losing this kind of vigor that it had moments ago. He's forgetting where he was, but he sees a place that he's been, a house, rustic and small, with a small porch and open windows, with a woman that he recognizes sitting there. But her face is a horror. I have fun every time I play this game, and as soon as you're like, these zombies run, I was like, dude, this fucking sucks. If I ever have to experience zombies that run, I quit. I don't want to play. If it's real life, like it's over. We're not doing it. That's scary shit. I don't care if you're like, oh, it's ZV. You grow the fuck up. You be afraid. I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. I want to say the first time that I ever saw that in media was 28 days later, whichever.
Yeah,
I think it's 28 days later.
I want to say there's like a scene where they're in like the subway, and everyone's trying to get on like the trains and mass transit, and like the lights go off. And the dude like goes downstairs, and it's like, y'all are, oh,
yeah. It's terrifying. Again,
terrifying.
Like the feral nature of zombies and things like that is terrifying. But when they can also run as fast as you can and
Faster,
likely will not tire, They won't exhaust the way that you will. It doesn't matter if they break their leg while they're running because they're still going to go just as hard. That's a different level of terrifying, in my opinion. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But I'm glad. I'm glad that I can scare the shit out of you guys, even still at 11th level, 12th level, whatever it is that you currently are.
The art that you had for that first scene, the stained glass with the shadows behind it,
dude, right?
Fucking chef kiss.
Yeah, it's a magic card, and I have it in a deck that I have, but it's so evocative. It conjures up such a deep, like, oh fuck, that I knew I had to use it here. So I'm glad that it was effective. Yeah. Speaking of effective, thank all of you so very, very much for making this game what it is each and every time that we manage to get together and play it. Truly, from the bottom of my heart. I can't imagine trying to stay interested in a story that takes 4 years to complete. That sounds impossible to me. But somehow, we have managed to put in 39 chapters now into that story over the course of 4 years, and I'm still excited every time that we get the chance to play this game to see how it's going to change, what's going to happen next, and what we're going to learn. So that's a very rare gift. So thank you for my Christmas gift. For all of you out there who may be watching, thank you very, very much for tuning in. Yeah, I love you for being here. It means the world to me. So I hope that you got some entertainment and maybe something educational out of this. I hope that each and every one of you has a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, whatever variety of holiday that you might observe. I hope that it is filled with time to recuperate, and laughter and love and good festiveness. But if not, like Steve said, I hope that the rest of your month goes well, that you get to snuggle under a blanket this winter and drink some hot cocoa or whatever your bag is. So I think we're going to call it an evening here. We'll be back tomorrow night, actually, with the 6th episode of the trilogy, Trickle Down, as we maybe finish things up next time. I don't know. We'll see.
That's not what trilogy means.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about that. But, what are words, really? As you know, anybody who's been here for long enough, I certainly don't have any special love for words. I just hack them apart and use them however I will. But yeah, so I think we're about to call it a year pretty soon here on the channel. And yeah, just remember that love is a free action. It costs you nothing. Kindness is a free action. That's the word. But love is too. Love and kindness, they're kind of the same thing, really.
Hate does take the action slot. And
that's right.
You do have to pay for it in your action economy. So
it's true. It's true. Just not worth it. There's enough hate out in the world. We don't need more of it. Figure out how to be kind to people if you can. It doesn't cost you anything. And the world needs more of it. So that's my holiday message to all of you. Until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.